Oh, and let's give Anna a nice big round of applause as well and bring her onto the screen. She's just enjoyed a Microsoft update, everybody.
Yes.
Good morning to you, Anna. How was that?
Always the worst times, aren't they? It's like
Yeah.
I didn't even authorize it to do it without, me giving the okay, and it just decided anyway. But anyway, here we are.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it's pretty horrible how they do that. It's as if they want to put their tentacles into every area of our life. What is it with tech people? Or most of them, I have to say. Sarah being an exception here. Linux is fun, guys. I have control over the computer I paid for. Now, there's an old-fashioned idea. Now, you may have heard me say, Anna, talking of old-fashioned ideas. You both of you are here. It just occurred to me yesterday. You are Portugal next generation, the leaders of the future, and I thought that might be an interesting angle. And then you said, well, it's actually an interesting subject. So that's inspired you, Anna, and I hope you too, Ben. And you, Ben, will have some rental vocabulary for us, because we know you as the vocabulary guy who teaches us Portuguese vocabulary in a fun way. We'll come back to that in a little while and decode those signs, perhaps, that say vencer and other things that are daubed on buildings around Portugal and on the billboards. So we'll come back to that vocab. But what grabbed you about that, Anna, with this Portugal Next Gen idea?
Well, I am and am not, because I've been on the job market for like 10 years. So I am not exactly new to it. But I definitely say that's a theme that has a lot going. Like, for example, I have a younger brother that's 7 years younger than me. And he is in that situation where he kind of wants to find a job, but the job ads are generally terrible. The whole thing of asking for experience but paying minimum wage.
Yeah.
And it just becomes so frustrating. And to be fair, he's also not really a risk taker personality person. So he's the kind of person that when he sees things may go bad, he will probably give up. And that really doesn't help in this kind of situations. But I'm perfectly aware that the job market in Portugal is not at all attractive. It's terrible, honestly. There are very little good opportunities, but then again, it's also very much about personality and being someone that goes after things and sends multiple applications and so on. Because, for example, I've seen like people who are foreigners and got very decently paid, even remote jobs while in Portugal. So it's not like they don't exist, but you have to search for them, and the offer and the competitivity of the market isn't great. And as an employer, I am the first to tell you that I would love to pay my employees more, but the state just takes so much that it makes it very hard. And things got a lot better this year, to be honest. Like, I'm going to give you the example of my own salary. So, of course, I pay myself. And as a business owner, I honestly don't pay myself that much. My own salary is 2,000. And up until March this year, I would get 1,520 euros. And
that's your net. That's your take home, as it were. As
yes.
people,
and recently, like mid this year, actually not too long ago, like 3 months ago, I started getting 1,740, which is a very good improvement, let's say.
Yes.
But that is, of course, just the discounts that I got on the salary that I take home. On top of this, there's a number of things I pay to the state regarding my employee salary. In the end, the state takes basically more than my employees home every month. And it's like, they don't give me any support. And honestly, things are made in a way that they say they want to incentivize jobs and stable jobs, but they do exactly the opposite. Because honestly, I learned the hard way that one of the worst things that you can do in Portugal is giving people stable conditions from the start. Because if it doesn't work, you will be paying and you will be taking, it takes a very, very long time to be able to terminate a contract for someone that is not working well or is being flat out incompetent. You take like 6 months to prove that someone is being incompetent. And while that's time, you are paying that person that is not being productive.
Yes.
And it's like, why would any company take that kind of risk? I mean, as a small company, that's a lot of expense to have. Of course, on the big companies, as we all know, they just don't take that risk. They just offer, very unstable contracts until they are sure the person is stable. And even so, they often still don't offer that risk for them, I mean. And someone just said it's like US government. It's kind of the opposite, because in the US you can kind of fire anyone for any reason.
I think not so much necessarily inside the government. I think that's the point being made there. Public sector, perhaps a nod at the public sector there rather than the private sector. But totally get your point, Anna. Why would a small company set up with all those costs and challenges only to find themselves dealing with things that are nothing to do with their entrepreneurial mission, but a load of admin stuff that arguably you would expect the government encouraging younger people and young companies, or all companies of all ages and types, to be streamlining their affairs so that they can get on and make some money and put that into the economy rather than dealing with a load of headaches, because I'm sure that's what you'd have rather have been doing.
Yeah, they do exactly the same, and honestly they are very, very good at making people just want to leave the country.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? And if we have a bit more context on this, and we'll get to Ben's view on this as well. You say you've been in the job market for 10 years. I mean, I think you are next generation, Anna, in terms of having a company and being fairly new to it and having these new observations and ideas. So I definitely see you both as next gen. This is the context, and we'll come to you, Ben, for a view on how you see it with all this sort of stuff, the big picture, and then what can be done in the meantime to get to a better set of conditions for people. Portugal's aging and declining population. Then population aging in Portugal will worsen by 2060, particularly in the islands of Madeira, the Açores, and the north, where there will be, and these are great places to live, incidentally, where there will be more than 400 elderly people for every 100 young people in 2100 in 2100. How will we say that when we get there? According to an INE projection. Now, I'll put the link to that article, but that's what's wanted, I think, is a world in which we can have great working conditions, people working, and then paying into the system so that those elderly people can be cared for. The picture you describe is not heading in that direction necessarily. Ben, what's your thought on this? Did you grow up? Are you growing up in this culture where you're thinking, I'm going to get out of here, I might come back later, because of all the things Anna's talked about?
I was for a while, if I'm being completely honest. I spent most of my working adult life in brackets in hospitality.
Yes.
So, waiting tables, working in kitchens, bartending, whatever I could. And the narrative that most of my friends have at the moment when I go out and speak with them socially, when we go out drinking, whatever, is that they want to leave the country primarily because of the wages here. It's difficult to find a job that pays you more than 870 a month, which isn't really a livable wage at all.
That's the minimum wage. That's why you've picked that particular figure, right?
Exactly. It's the minimum wage. And sort of why do the same amount of work? So, for instance, take hospitality. I could be working a bar here in Portugal, getting 870 a month or getting 900 a month at the most. Why would I work here when I could go to Germany and earn almost twice as much? Of course, you pay higher taxes as well, but after doing all the math, it works out you have a bit more money in your pocket at the end of the month.
Yes. Yeah. So how do you think then? How can this be changed? Because another part of this, and a great irony here that isn't going to go unnoticed by us. We've moved here, us older ones, and fans of Portugal, for the enviable lifestyle and love being here. And you would think, well, isn't that a great environment for the young people of Portugal to enter the job market and raise their families? But no, it's not. It's not happening like that. And I think it's so deeply cultural, isn't it? This expectation that you will move away, that it's going to take some really serious structural changes and a change in sort of mindset, I think, among the young and their parents, saying, oh, I'm sure a lot of parents say, oh, you don't want to stay here. You want to get a good job somewhere else. You want to go to Luxembourg or France or America and then come back later. That's not a success, a recipe for success, is it? For the sort of economy, not only that would be a nice way of life for people, but that we're actually going to need with the shifting demographics. How is that structural change going to take place, Anna?
Yes, I think that, like I said, the government did do some good policies this year, like this reduction on the IRACs. They did this young people IRACs thing. They are also doing the incentive for buying the first home for I'm trying to translate jovens. How do you
Under
translate?
35s.
Yeah, but yes, under 35 year people that here in Portugal, they say like
Millennials, some might say.
jovens. And I do think these measures are positive, but they are not enough because they don't solve the intrinsic problem on the market. And I think the only way to solve the intrinsic problem on the market is to improve Portugal's economy and Portugal's ability to create jobs. Yes. Because honestly, that hasn't been doing great. And like I said, as an employer, I am the first one to say, and whenever any client comes to me saying they opened a company, the first thing I tell them is be very, very, very careful with hirings, because it can be a major problem and a major headache. And I hate to say that.
Yeah, right.
I want the job market to be better, but the system is terrible.
Yeah, I've learned this from you. I've heard you speak of this, and what a terrible situation to be in. The kind that T-Duck speaks of here. I work for a local city government in California. There's a lot of dead wood, and no supervisor would do anything because they were mostly dead wood as well. That's a worst case scenario. I think that's called the Peter principle, isn't it? When people are also promoted to the.
And honestly, I do think that this starts intrinsically on the government. And just the other day, I was talking about that and government promotions. And it's like supposedly the government hires people on merit and does these concursos that a lot of people apply to and supposedly selects the best one. But in the end, it comes down a lot to connections. And I would say that way too high of a percentage of people that are in management and governments are there from connections and are actually terrible managers. And there are so much, just incompetence on the services, and people don't care because it's almost impossible to fire someone in the government.
Well,
so,
and
the problem starts there, because it seems that Portuguese system is just set up in a way that doesn't incentivize competence. And how are things going to improve if people aren't competent?
Well, yes, and Andero is saying here, some employees seem to make a living lifestyle in playing the employment system. I think you're always going to get that with human nature, but you want to minimize that as much as possible, don't you?
And that can be frustrating as someone that pays a ton of taxes. If I pay a ton of taxes to my company, I often go like, what am I paying for? Am I paying for the people that aren't working? How is this fair?
Yes, no, we totally understand that. Mel's saying as well, this is a foreigner's take in learning a little bit about the system. Even just self-employed Recibo Verde pay 15% in Segurança Social, the Social Security, from the first dollar earned, even when not earning enough to pay tax. That is
ironically, they then don't get any safety. Like if they get sick, if they get like the pandemic and so on.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people because I had the Viking Tavern, the itinerary business, and I know a lot of
Yeah.
people from that mean. And those people, they did fairs and events. They stopped completely being able to work during COVID. They would get the minimum, we call it the prestação mínima, and would get like 420 euros a month. Like,
That's Portuguese unemployment. That's Portuguese unemployment benefit, is it? For that if you lived at home,
specifically for the self-employed,
right?
Like self-employed people, when there are these kinds of situations, they have very, very little security. It's kind of terrible. Like,
Yes.
no matter how much, like if you're paying like 1,000 a year or 200, 1,000 a month or 200 a month, in the end you will get like this very, very like minimum support thing that it's like 400 and something euros.
You need to be living at home still, don't you, and seeing that as pocket money, basically, which probably a lot of these folks weren't.
Which during COVID, it was very hard.
Yeah, of course. And then Mel's adding here, then when they earn a bit more, they pay approximately 17% tax. So low-income earners are losing 30% straight away. It's crazy. And it doesn't encourage people to have a go and start businesses necessarily.
No,
that's the problem. And maybe we can switch our focus. I think we get the picture that this is a cultural, structural problem, and there are a number of things to undo here if next gen Portugal is to stand a chance of enjoying the wonderful lifestyle here that the rest of us seem to be doing, and that remains an attractive thing about Portugal, and have a great working life, whether they're working for somebody else or working for themselves, access to housing. How are we going to deal with these problems then? So Ben, I think you said I was going to. Have you changed your strategy? Have you thought to yourself, I do want to make it work here because this is a great place to live?
Yeah, no, I've been lucky enough to find a pretty good job. I'm working as an estate agent now. I'm really enjoying it. So going to see how this path goes for me.
Yes.
Fingers crossed it goes well.
Well, yes, fingers crossed, absolutely. Boa sorte to you. And there is a precariousness about that. I mean, it's not necessarily a job, is it? It's one where the rewards could be incredible if all the hard work pays off. But I'm guessing, and I don't want to pry or be nosy about your situation, but you are taking a bit of a punt and a bit of a gamble in that particular industry, I would have thought.
Oh, definitely. It's I see it as kind of high risk, high reward. And if there's any time to do it, I'm still young enough to do something like this.
So with your peers and colleagues of a similar age, how are they seeing this? What are they doing? For those of them a bit like Anna's brother, perhaps, who are not as risk excited as you sound like you are, what are other next gen Portuguese folks doing? How are they approaching this? Are they saying we've got to leave and come back later and raise a family when we're older? And that's another demographic situation, isn't it? People who delay having children tend to have less children, and we need the population for the future. What are your contemporaries doing, Ben? If you don't mind me asking.
To be honest with you, not a lot of my friends and not a lot of people in my social circle really talk about raising families here. Or, well, not just here, but raising families full stop. It doesn't seem to be something that we talk about on a regular enough basis. In regards to what my friends think of my job, they hate me. They point the finger and they blame me for all the property prices going up.
Oh, of course, yes, you're the problem, right? Okay,
I'm the problem.
Right. And presumably they're finding more other stable forms of income then.
Yeah, a lot of when we speak my friend group, a lot of them are in university. A lot of them also either work in hospitality as well, so sort of minimum wage or student loan type of situation. Although I do think there is hope. There are steps that the government take in the right direction. For instance, like we talked about, they're raising the amount of the deduction you can claim on your rent for your taxes as well. Also lowering the amount that landlords have to pay in tax too. The only problem I find with this is that there's a lot of deductions on land. Well, not a lot of deductions. There's a deduction on the landlord's behalf, but there's nothing to really enforce them lowering rent for people, at least from what I've read so far. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see what the next steps in this are, if this is going to be a conversation that's going to be had. I'm curious to see where it goes, but fingers crossed, I'm going to remain hopeful.
Well, yeah, we have to, don't we? We really have to, and I'm hoping that the wisdom, if there is any among the older expats coming over, people who've worked in in corporate settings and in consultancy, and a lot of them talk about giving back and wanting to help the society that they've moved to and love. That there can be some sort of partnership with these with ideas that can really help. Talking of which, ideas. What about your contemporaries, Anna? Do you have any more to say about this and how things are shaping up in your generation? A little bit older than Ben, by the sound of it.
Yes, I was going to say that. So I don't know how much older, but I'm quite a bit older than Ben. And well, in most of my generation, I already have quite a few friends with kids, and it's definitely a concern, having both of them having stable jobs, being able to purchase homes, and having a stable rental situation. If not, most of them are honestly not in a particularly comfortable place. And yes, I do think, like, for example, even I'm also a landlord, and it's complicated for landlords too, because for example, my family, we have a lot of inherited property that goes way back, and my family has rents of 12 euros. And we cannot change those rents because they are stuck from those times, and the law doesn't permit us to change those rents. And I just think,
hold on a minute. Can I stop you there? Did you say 12 euros? Does this go back to the Republic?
It's like these contracts were made in the 60s or so. But yes, it's and then, like, I am not renting because my family has property and I'm very privileged in that way. But I know if I wanted to be renting, like, where would my salary go?
Wow, renting and ranting. Yeah, absolutely.
And then it can be a bit ironic because, I mean, these tenants that we have paying these ridiculous rents, to be fair, the houses are pretty old and are pretty run down, and I wouldn't want to live in those houses. However, it's like 12 euros rent.
That's, yeah.
And
you can't really do a lot of re-roofing and repainting for that, can you? I don't suppose.
And the state is kind of making the privates be social security in this case, instead of, like, for example, now if you wanted to sell this plot, one of them is like, we say an island, which used to be like factory housing back in the day. So there's like a bunch of small houses and so on.
Oh, interesting.
And we cannot, it's like in prime location, it could build 7,000 square meters of livable area. And we're stuck with it because we cannot remove these people that are paying 12 euros rent.
In a sane society, perhaps there might be a review that would be, you're looking for the wisdom of Solomon here, aren't you? Such that, I mean, you can't do much as a landlord if you're being paid 12 euros. You can't really look after your.
It's like, how am I going to maintain property? I mean, in the end, we're at the point that we basically pay the same in property tax that we get from rent.
Yes, which is an unfair and illogical, is it not? So, but that comes from a very good place, of course, doesn't it? That these protections were set up to look after people, and what we're looking for is a balance here, aren't we?
I do think they are actually helpful. Like, for example,
exactly.
We have this half a dozen people that don't allow something that could be like 100 apartment built.
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? It's the same with the protection for employees as well, isn't it? When it starts to become uncomfortably painful and inefficient, something's gone wrong. And we're looking for some balance here, aren't we? Basically, very interesting to hear your perspectives on this. We've got some views coming in, of course, from our community as well. Thank you, Adrian, Matty as well, self-employed. Is always without any security, and I think it's a little bit of the mindset that Ben's talking about. High risk but high reward. Perhaps this is called risk of business. No benefits for self-employed in the Netherlands either, or Germany, as far as I know. And only immigrants are willing to take 870 euros a month jobs. Portugal really needs them. That's definitely a sort of socio-economic and political matter as well.
I know in so many places, this whole situation of people complaining about about immigrants, but then the immigrants are the ones taking the low-wage jobs that kind of are necessary.
And Ben as well. I know several who've set up in their business in the UK, but clients and receiver contractors in Portugal, and largely live here. I think that perhaps the government with a more entrepreneurial hat on might look at the situation and say, you know, this is ridiculous. We're penalising people for trying to work and create income and wealth, and you know it's right that we tax them and reinvest that into society. But the formula's not quite right. Let's keep working on that. Funny thing is, the foreigners are blamed for high prices because they pay what the Portuguese landlords charge, but the landlords are not blamed. Really fun. The Homer Simpson meme comes to mind, where the Portuguese landlords disappear into the hedge, and the ones who are selling the houses, well, it's like the foreigners are blamed for putting the prices up. Often there is a Portuguese landlord or a Portuguese homeowner selling or renting the house, right, Anna?
No, that part is true. The part that is not true is that the landlords are not blamed. The landlords are very much blamed. The landlords are very much hated.
Oh, okay. There's fingers pointing everywhere.
God,
in this room.
That wasn't patronising at all. I feel attacked. This live stream.
But we're all older than Ben. It's just a fact. It's not a judgment. Or bullying. I will not stand for that, Ben. You know that. Oh, here we go. He's trying it again.
Yes.
Young Portuguese live with their parents.
That's another thing, because it's the jobs and it's so hard to find a good paying job, and mostly, to be honest, my friends, I know very, very little single friends that actually live alone, because you cannot pay a rent on a house unless you have a very high salary in Portugal, which is very, very rare, especially among young people. So either you are a couple that are able to divide expenses, or you live with your parents. And my one friend that is single and lives alone, you know, I think it's like 65 to 70% of her income goes to housing.
Wow. That's not a recipe in a sane society, is it, or sustainable way of doing things? Very interesting. We will continue this conversation. We'll certainly obviously have this as your perspective as Portugal Next Gen, and maybe we'll talk about more of these socioeconomic and demographic matters specifically in the future as well. We've got a Portuguese citizenship test question. We might discuss the foreigners law, and we've got a bit of vocab. And I think, Ben, you were thinking of sharing vocab today, phonetically, of course, as is your way, on renting. Is that what you're going to do?
Indeed, that is today's theme. We're going to be learning a bit about renting, vocabulary around renting, and a few sentences that might come in handy.
Very good for the foreigners to know these words, so that when they go to an appointment, having called somebody, they know that they're actually renting and not buying the property, to avoid disappointment for all concerned. So take it away, Ben.
All right, thank you. I'll just get the lesson ready over here. Make sure it's all good. Perfect. Share screen.
Right, Professor Ben Austin teaching us this morning. And don't forget, there is a Portuguese language, of course, at the Portugal Club, where we'll be going and trying the music broadcast facilities. Music is dead on the Good Morning Portugal show. Long live the music, but not on this platform. We'll stop killing YouTube or YouTube channel. Oh, here we go. I love how you teach us, Ben.
Okay, so always try to create a bit of mystery by covering up what the actual words are. So first off, we're going to have some vocabulary today, just some useful words, useful things for you to know here in Portugal. So first off, apartment. Any idea what apartment is in Portuguese, Carl?
I know this one. I think Anna might know it. Apartamento.
Apartamento, indeed.
Yes.
Apartamento.
Woohoo!
Woo! First one down.
Right, very good.
Okay, next up,
Easy.
house. Easy.
Casa.
Casa. Okay. Perfect. Easy. Streaming through these ones.
Rocking through these, aren't we?
Indeed. So next one's a bit more complicated. Landlord. What is a landlord in Portuguese?
Oh, I want to know what the slang is for somebody who's not very happy with landlords. What would?
I'm not sure I can say that on the. Can I say that on the show? It's a bit of a.
But it's not landlord specific. The slang.
Does it begin with C? Does it begin with C and end in O?
It could.
Okay,
I was going down a different path with that one, but that also works.
Okay, all right. So what is landlord in Portuguese? I don't know.
Landlord is senhorio.
Oh, okay. What's the origin of that then? Like a sir?
I guess, yeah, like a sir. I don't know what the origin of it is. I just know how it's said, senhorio. But I imagine, yeah, you could kind of deduct that it must be from like a sir, a landowner back in the day.
Like landlord itself. I mean, that does sound very grand, doesn't it? I'm a landlord. Get off my land. Yes. Okay. So very similar in the Portuguese. Okay. Thank you.
So that would be senhorio.
Senhorio. Not to be.
So again, that kind of soft soft e.
Yeah.
New, which is one that a lot of expats struggle with, the new and the nya.
Nasalate.
New, exactly. And then the rolled R, the rio.
Oh,
senhorio.
That is probably, along with cabeleireiro, that is going to be one of a hard one, isn't it? That's saying landlord in Portuguese.
I had a visit to the cabeleireiro recently, oddly enough to my disappointment.
Why?
It's my own fault. I wasn't specific enough. I went in there and I said, look, I like the length that my hair's at the moment. I just need something to look a bit more tidy, a bit more professional, but I'll leave it up to you to see what you do.
Oh dear.
And that was a mistake.
Yes.
I've now got a slip back haircut, which I'm relatively happy with. It's just getting over the shock of I wasn't expecting it to be this short.
Where did the ponytail come from as well? Those are extensions of it at the back. It was a bit like when I went first time and I just said limpar, se faz favor, and they cleaned it off. They shaved the whole lot off.
Zero, isn't it? That's a zero all around.
The thing that highly annoys me in Portuguese society, like the judgment on guys with long hair and so on, and tattoos and so on. I mean, it's so much important that people are actually professional. Like, what does it matter the length of the hair and the tattoos if people did a good job? But Portugal is still very backwards on those kinds
I didn't realise that. That's been wasted on me, all of that prejudice going on. I just thought Portugal was a very sort of accepting workplace and you could rock up in various states of adornment.
Especially on the job market and so on, and the service industry, it's still very judgmental.
What, a firm handshake, clean fingernails, and shiny shoes?
Yes.
Get in 2025. Okay.
I mean, I remember when I was probably about Ben's age, I was working in a 5-star hotel. And I got fired because I didn't, like, at the time I had some color hair. And at the time I was hired, I said, look, I can change my hair color, but it won't be instant. Otherwise I will ruin my hair. Yes. They hired me. The guy that hired me was okay, but then someone in management saw me and kind of instantly fired me.
Good heavens above. It sounds like Victorian England.
It's quite common in those sort of higher echelons of catering as well. You know, you can't have like tattoos on your hands or arms or anywhere visible. Things like that.
If you went to the supermarkets and they made people with piercings take out their piercing, and would see a lot of them with just kind of small patches on their faces because they had to take out their piercings and they're just covering the holes.
Which you would argue, I mean, looks even worse, doesn't it? It was elastoplast.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, there's a little bit of a cultural insight for you. Okay, so from landlords to, even though I've got this on big screen. Oh, are we looking at tenants now?
We're looking at tenants, yes. Do you want me to zoom in a bit for you? Would that help?
Yeah, it would help all of us, I think, here, Ben. Your young eyes can see this. Again, it's hard to not be patronising when talking about age, relative age, isn't it? But thank you very much for doing that. Everyone's breathed a sigh of relief.
All I've done is, I've only been attacked this show. I feel so patronised over here. And this is bullying in the workplace, and you stood for it, Carl, and I will be taking this to tribunal.
Oh, no, the complaints book and everything. Tribunal. Might not be here next week. Might be a lengthy process. Who doesn't like a lengthy process, first thing? Right. So, an inquilino.
Inquilino, yes.
Yeah,
so it's another difficult one to pronounce because there's a lot of I's in this. Personally, despite being in this country for over 15 years now, I still struggle with this word.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Inquilino. I have to kind of slow myself down. It doesn't help that I naturally talk quite quickly, and it doesn't help getting over all those different I's.
Yeah, but generally we don't pronounce the U, so it just generally most people say inquilino.
Inquilino.
Oh, okay.
Or
Inquilino.
Yes,
pronounced it wrong apparently.
it goes against what if you've learnt a QU as a qua, it goes against that, doesn't it, in Queen? So inquilino, that's worth remembering for other words as well here in Portugal. So the inquilino, which some of us are. Okay, thank you for that.
Inquilino, a tenant. So rent as well. I imagine you'd know what rent is in Portuguese. Quite similar to
Is it?
renda.
Yes, renda. See, renda. Okay.
Okay, next one. Big one here. Lease.
That
Any
does
idea
look
what
like a really long word.
it's quite a few words pushed together.
This is looking like I have to say as well, a US government document with a lot of redactions.
Redacted.
Yes. Okay. So that looks terrifying.
And I mentioned that, Carl. You've outed my part-time job now. I'm redacting documents for the US government.
You're very good at it, and I'm sure they've got a lot of work for you.
Oh yeah, at the moment, God.
Right. So, what is this long word for lease then?
So I guess lease, isn't really the direct translation of what this is. I think something closer to it would be like a rental contract.
Oh
so
my
contrato de
goodness.
arrendamento, which most times is just abbreviated to, when you're talking about it in conversation, just contrato.
Contrato. And you'll notice that the way Ben said it there, although it looks like contrato, he said something like contrato.
Contrato, yeah. I kind of mutter it's contrato.
It is. And the better you get, the more you should be doing that. Would you agree, Anna? The sort of eating of the words.
Yes, we eat a lot of words, and sometimes parts of words.
So the words completely disappear. Okay, and depending on how hungry a Portuguese person is, perhaps the more they eat the words. I don't know. Maybe it's better after lunchtime. Deposit, Ben.
There'll be a lot of this today. I haven't had breakfast yet, so
Right.
a lot of this eating of words.
Make sure you were here early. Okay.
Exactly. I was here 4 o'clock in the morning, stood in front of the PC, jumping jacks, coffee in hand, trying to stay awake.
You did a great job.
Thank you. So, deposit. Any idea what this might be?
I think it's like would be maybe disposito or something similar to deposit.
It could be deposit, but oftentimes it's referred to as a calção, which is like a precautionary. It's more has more of a precautionary implication behind it.
I see. Okay, very good.
And something I've noticed often in Facebook, it's not like a question I've noticed when I surf through questionnaires online, is that it's not uncommon here in Portugal to charge about 2 months deposit in advance.
Yes,
yeah,
that's something that
is 1 to 2 months, but yeah, sometimes they ask for more. So it's kind of a curious thing because the minimum, as you know, the legal minimum or maximum used to be 3 rents. And now it's 2 rents, which I think it's a bit silly because the Portuguese law, it's like technically you can only kick someone out after they haven't paid for 3 months. So it made perfect sense that you required 3 months in advance, but they lowered it to 2. But it's kind of irrelevant because there is no limit on how many deposits, how many calção you can ask. So people just go around it in that way. So instead of asking for saying, even if they apply towards rent, instead of saying it's rent, they say it's calção, and they just charge whatever they want anyway. And as you all know, it's unfortunately very common especially for foreigners, because they don't have a financial presence in Portugal, for people to ask to 6 months or even a year in rent to close the contract.
I've heard of this.
It's technically illegal, but people go around it using deposits.
And because of the demand as well, right? Yes, the high demand. Now, was it you who told us about this paying your rent on a monthly basis? Do Portuguese people pay in the first week, not necessarily on a particular day? Did I hear that right?
In Portugal, it's by law you have to pay until the 8th or 10th, something like that. So you have to pay before that day, generally, and after that day, it can be considered overdue.
So you can pay any time for your rent that month up to the 8th. It doesn't necessarily happen on a particular day. Is that right?
Yeah, unless the contract sets it on a particular day, but legally it will only be considered overdue if it's after, I don't know, I think it's the 8th, but it may be.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating, isn't it? Did you know about that, Ben?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, I thought I heard that somewhere. Thank you for confirming that, Anna. So it's overdue if it's after the 8th. Very interesting. Okay. Furnished and unfurnished then. This is great. And I think what you're doing here, Ben, is recruiting your new team in the real estate agency. Is that right? Is that a sort of subtle programming that's going on here?
Don't tell everyone.
Right, carry on. Right.
This is how I build a team. Don't tell everyone.
Yeah,
Carl.
you are.
They can't be aware of my strategies.
I know what's going on here.
Yeah, but no one else needs to. So, furnished. Any idea what furnished might be?
Well,
It kind of has to do with like a bit Marvel.
Imovation. Yes, it's got to be something to do with Imo, hasn't it? I would have thought.
Not really Imo, Marvage.
There is Imo in the middle.
Okay, go on then.
Mobiliado.
Oh, mobiliado. I wouldn't have got that. Okay, so immobiliado then, perhaps for unfurnished.
Close. It's just no mobiliado.
Oh, come on.
Close. I could see the logic there. Close.
Yes. All right. It would be my second guess. Okay.
No mobiliado. So, okay, running through this quickly now. Utilities are. I bring my own sound effects. Quantas barra despesas. So, utilities, your electric bill, your water bill, despesas, or contas.
Very good. Okay.
Okay, and of course, estate agency. Last but not least.
Yes.
Immobiliaria. There we go.
Okay, feminine. All right.
Yep. Actually.
Oh, very good. Some useful phrases. This is like an old-fashioned phrase book.
It is. Oh God, it's weird. I have so many of those. I got one for German. I got one for Italian, and I'd never use them.
People don't, do they? They open it up and it says, I say, where can I get my shoes resold and things like that from the 1950s. And you think, this is useless.
The only time I used it was for sort of comic effect when I was living in Berlin, and I went out drinking with a load of friends, and I kind of pulled it out and started reading random sentences that I could find.
Exactly. And the chances of actually finding the right sentence for the situation you're in are very low indeed. These look very useful, however. Is the apartment still available? Right, okay.
Is the apartment still available? So my idea with this is we could try and work together, maybe work with the comments section if anyone's got any suggestions as well to try and build a sentence in Portuguese.
Oh, come on.
How do you guys think we would say, is the apartment still available?
Oh, and we also need to know, Tita, going back to some of our favorite real estate pictures, is there a body on the balcony? Okay. And my landlady actually reminded us that we didn't actually have to pay on time. We finally told her that we're American and we couldn't help it. Very good. Same in UK. But we get twitchy on that day rather than thinking, it's fine, we've got till the 8th, which apparently is the culture. They're supposed, but they often don't. I wonder what that is. Okay, and same here. I always do the transfer first thing on the 1st. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's generally speaking what we do. But interesting to know about that custom. Right, is the apartment still available? That's what you're looking for. A sentence construction from our community. They're very quiet. Where's my crickets? No. I can't find the crickets. Obviously,
you're pulling out all the young people sound effects today, aren't you? The air horn.
For that. It's the weekend, guys.
Not yet. It's not.
Okay, no, true.
Only after 6 o'clock.
Only after 12 o'clock, actually, I think you'll find. Right. Okay, register the contracts with finances. Hold on a minute. Let's
and now both sides can register. That was also changed this year, because before only the landlord could register the contract, and now the tenant can also register the contract. Because a lot of landlords would try to get sleaze out and not register, because that way they could avoid paying 27% tax.
Yes, and I was going to say, who could blame them? But no, don't do that, folks. That's tax evasion. Right, okay. Ben, get back to you quickly.
Useful Good Morning Portugal tips. Don't commit tax evasion, guys.
Yeah, and you can actually get a fine, or not you, but the landlord can get a very, very heavy fine. It can go, I think, up to 20,000.
Now, why doesn't that surprise me? Okay. Right. We still have this question, don't we? Is the apartment still available? I think you'd have to tell us. Is
the apartment still available? So I'll start off the sentence, and we'll see if we can lead here. So we're going to start off with apartment. So the apartment. We have to change our phrase structure a little bit. It's not like in English where we'd say, is the apartment still available? The verb will come after.
Yes.
Apartment. So now it'd be time for the verb.
Yes. Are we going with Será on this, or
close? It is ser. It is the but ser is an irregular verb, and having it conjugated to its specific tense is a bit difficult for English-speaking people. So I'll help out here.
Thank you.
Actually, before I put down the verb, I should put to preface some time.
Ainda. Still. Ainda. Yeah.
So far we have the apartment still is.
Okay.
And then how would we go about saying available?
Something like parar. I don't know. Basically,
I can see where you're going with that. Like, is it still available for
rent? Yes.
For rent, yeah, I can see the logic behind that. But I think a more like cut to way of saying it would be disponível. Is it still available?
Okay. That comes up, doesn't it? Disponível is a word you'll see, I think, on mobile phones, possibly. From time to time, yeah. Okay.
Disponível. Are you available? It's a very useful word, really. It pops up a lot more than you think.
Okay. So the quanto custa?
That's a pretty good way of going. Quanto custa?
Quanto custa? Okay.
Quanto custa. That's a very cut and dry.
It is, and it's a pau queijo approach.
Exactly. Quanto custa, or you could, if you want to be a bit more complete and use the words that are up here, we could say quanto é a renda.
Quanto é a renda? So how much is the rent?
Renda.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, fantastic. I thought you said.
I just remembered on the rental topic, there's a lot of rent scams, so be very careful about it. Just this week, my Lisbon agent, always in Lisbon, just called me with, we have our first interaction with a very, very traumatized landlord that apparently they wouldn't let us be on video call and show the apartment through video call because apparently there are scammers going around doing video calls with people and then saying they are the owners and getting the payment when they are not the owners. So scammers are very creative. But I think this landlord still didn't allow us to show the apartment through video call, even though we're like, look, we can show you we're a reputable company. We can introduce you as the landlord and all of that. But yes, definitely be very careful because on the rental market, there's this whole lot of very creative scams going around.
And I've heard that some scammers hire an Airbnb for a week and then they rent it out to other people as though it's an annual rent. And if you're able to charge 3, 6 or 12 months up front, and you do so pretending that's you. I'm not giving people ideas here. This is one I've heard.
The only way that you can
Where's my notebook?
Things is by checking and asking for the registry of the apartments, for the certidão permanente or matriz. So you really need either to have someone check those documents to not end up in that kind of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And because if you're getting a bit desperate and you really love the place, those two things can drive people into, ordinarily sane people could be driven into that situation.
Yes. Another thing is I've seen before people asking for deposits to show the apartment. That is not only highly illegal, it's like a huge red flag.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that public service announcement as well. Back to you, Ben.
Back to me. So, how much is the deposit? Go back up here. Deposit being calção.
Okay.
Or deposit. It would be the same sort of structure we have going on up here.
Yeah, quanto é a calção?
Exactly. Quanto é a calção?
Yes.
Quanto é a calção?
Which sounds like quanto calção, or doesn't it? But it's swallowing up the structure in the middle of the sentence there.
Quanto é calção? Which sounds calção sounds quite similar to shorts, which is calções.
Okay.
That's a weird connection I just made in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Are utilities included? So we go up here. We see utilities are contas or despesas.
Contas inclusivo would be my pidgin Portuguese on that.
That's pretty good. It gets the point across.
Okay. Yeah.
If you wanted to be sort of grammatically perfect and all, 5 stars, you'd say.
Of course I do.
As despesas. I'd say despesas personally.
Right. Okay. A little bit more formal. Yeah.
Incluídas.
Estão incluídas. Okay, thank you very much.
So, are the despesas included? Or if you want to be really complete, you could even add na renda.
Okay.
Are are the oh god, I forgot the word in English now.
Are the utilities included in the rent?
Are the utilities including the rent? Exactly.
Yeah.
How long is the lease?
How long compared to how much? Okay, yeah, tell us.
How long? So you could say, for instance, quanto tempo é o contrato? Actually, that doesn't sound. Or qual é a duração? A more correct way of saying that would be qual a duração. So how long is the duration of the contract?
Okay. Sounds like a samba tune.
Qual a duração do contrato?
Qual a duração? I can hear a sort of Brazilian backbeat under that. Qual a duração?
Okay. A bit of bossa nova.
Yes.
We should do that. We should do a bossa nova morning.
What with some and we write some lyrics based on.
I think we just use a language lesson.
Okay,
you know, kind of if you give me a bit like.
Sounds like a job for AI. Oh my goodness! I thought Sergio Mendes was in the studio for a minute.
Quanto é a renda?
Oh, you're a chip off the old block, aren't you? Obviously.
Oh no, I'm not as good at singing as my dad. Not by a mile. As has been repeatedly showcased during those wonderful karaoke events that you host. I've made multiple people's ears bleed.
You, not your dad. I think you're saying that, yes.
Yeah, me, not my dad.
Yeah.
No, my sister inherited all the musical talent in the family. I got left with
that as well. Yes. Parts. Oh. Well, come and practice. We've got a new karaoke date. It's wine tasting and karaoke from the first Saturday in November. Guess where, Ben? In San Martin de Porto. Which bar would you imagine we'd be doing that in? Where we can also wash our smalls?
Casa de Lem?
No.
No, it's not Casa de Lem.
The clue is in washing our smalls.
Oh, is it in the Pedro's place? The one I keep forgetting the name of.
Primeiro Soluço.
Soluço. Yep.
Soluço. Yes. First hiccup.
As us cool next gen kids abbreviate it to.
Soluço. Okay.
Soluço. Yeah.
What did you say?
Say that again, Anna.
What did you say the day was for that?
It's the first Saturday in November. Which you think you're joining us? Awesome.
No, I want to be in Portugal, but I'm actually in Caldas de Rainha right now, so I was wondering.
Are you?
I'm going to Santarém today. I'm going to have a company lunch, and I was going to film the city. But of course, we got a great day today when it was just, super sunny yesterday. And of course, the day I was going to film, it turns gray.
Oh, it can change though, as you know.
I think it's going to clear up around the afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, 1st of November then is actually the Saturday. So we are having red notes with a wine tasting. Pedro is a chef, so I think he'll be doing a few nibbles. And then what could possibly go wrong, a karaoke after the wine tasting.
Nothing at all. Pedro's a 5-star guy. I love Pedro to bits.
Yeah.
Right, so last sentence.
The all-important question then.
Last one.
When can I move in?
When can I move in? How do you think you would say that in Portuguese? Come on, I've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Let's have one that's 100% you and the comment section. Let's work together.
Yeah. Okay, so onde is going to be when, isn't it?
Onde is where?
Of course it is. When? I don't know.
We have used when before.
Not ainda.
Oh, no, we haven't yet. No, we haven't. Never mind. Forget that. We've used a very similar word to it. I'll give you a bit of a clue.
Qual.
Qual would be which.
Oh, okay. Clearly, I do not know with this. I'm going to use tain as part of my sentence here. Like, when can I have it?
Tain is to have. Would be a tense of to have.
So when can I have it?
I'll try jump starting the sentence for you.
Oh, quando, of course. Quando tem. Would that not be right?
Tell me quando.
Bossa.
Quando tem. That would be when do you have?
Oh, when do they have it rather than when do I have it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So 10.
When we're doing linguistics, it often goes very quiet in the comments. Mudo. Quando mudar aqui?
Quando mudar aqui. Okay.
Very good, you guys. Thank you.
Quando mudar aqui. That is super close to it. It's missing. I'm going to be very pedantic about this. Quando é que posso? So when, if we translate this literally to English, it's when is can I? When is
When
can
is
I?
can I? Right. Okay.
So when is can I change? Quando é que posso mudar?
Okay.
You can also say.
Sorry?
Or we can also say, when can I entrar? When can I go in?
Oh yes, quando entrar.
Entrar.
You would get away with perhaps on a shortening there. Okay. Sorry, I accused everybody.
No, he said that this would be for something else. We, for example, when about the deposits or the rents, or the deposit on housing, we call it entrada, like the start.
Okay. Okay. That's so. Quando é que posso mudar or entrar? Thank you very much, Professor. And I did accuse everybody of going quiet in the comments. Au contraire, to chuck in a bit of French as well. Thank you very much for your comments here. And esta disponível there, or sorry, disponível.
Yeah, disponível. That would be referring to this one here, correct?
Okay.
If you're already talking about the apartments, you could always just say está disponível, like cut this first part of the sentence off. If you're sitting down with the landlord having a coffee and you've already asked all the questions, you have to ask, like, how many bathrooms do they have, how many bedrooms, and you got into that final part. You could just go está disponível.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
If the apartment's already been in the conversation.
Yes. Now, we heard of scams, the sort of downside of some of these things, but also let's shout out to some of the wonderful people who are letting houses and the beautiful Portuguese nature that we also experience. When we moved 6 months ago, we paid the deposit up front and they let us move in 10 days early before the contract started. Yeah, I've experienced situations like that. Yeah, move all your stuff in, it's fine. 3 years, please. I hate moving. Quanto é noticia? How long is the notice as well? By law, you give 128 days notice after completing a third of the contract. Thank you very much. This is the hive mind. Are the cockroaches seasonal? Yes. In our first apartment, we gave notice at a third to be able to stay to renegotiate the contract. Excuse me, it worked out nicely. I've eaten some words there, I think. Does it come with or without mold? With damp guard? And 100 euros off your first order. No, there you go. See what I did there?
Expertly done.
Yes,
Super subtle. I loved it.
We didn't set that up. I love the roof vent. What's that? The hole in the slates. The first rental contract I had, says Adrian, for a small room in a shared flat. I had 1 month notice in the contract. I ended up staying there for 2 years, exactly, studying Portuguese at Coimbra University. Happy times. That sounds like great fun. And that particular time of your life. Wow. Next generation Portugal, you have been amazing. I'm sure you will continue to be. The future of Portugal is in your hands, guys. How do you feel?
No pressure then.
No?
Yeah, that was it. No pressure.
Seriously, though, I'm glad it is. I look forward to the three of us being on the screen and being with you, bright sparks. You've made an old man very happy this morning with your insight. So thank you very much for bringing your light and charm to the situation. Have a great month, and we'll continue our conversation in a month's time. Last words, you first, Ben, and then we'll finish with Savika Anna, and we will play It's the End of the World as We Know It, because the music is dead here on YouTube. We're going to take it somewhere else. So you first, Ben, and what's your final message representing the future of Portugal here?
Well, thank you very much for having me on, Carl. As is per usual, thank you, Anna, for being on the show as well today. Lovely to be here, giving me a platform to speak my voice, put my opinion on things. Thank you all for listening as well.
Always welcome. Yeah, very polite as well. Excellent Portuguese manners there. A hybrid of British and Portuguese manners, I would say. Love to the family, Ben. Thank you very much indeed. Savika Anna, what say you?
I wanted to leave on a positive note because I think we talked about a lot of bad things in Portugal. And I wanted to say, although there is, of course, a lot of tension with the foreigners coming and all the blaming, I do think that mentality of, just scapegoat and trying to find someone to blame is terrible. And in the end, the foreigners are actually incentivizing the economy Probably more than the government, to be honest.
Yeah,
So thank you for coming. And actually, these people coming, they are incentivizing and contributing a lot. And of course, not all things are good, but I do think that a lot of responsibility lies on our side. Like, for example, the inflating prices, they are allowed to inflate so much because there is very little transparency and control on the market. And I don't think it's correct to, put all the blame on the people that are just stuck in the system and don't really know better. And I do think that a lot can be done better, but I don't want to discourage people for coming to Portugal. And there's a lot of positive impact being done by this foreign increase too, definitely. And finishing on a positive note, today on my channel we will release a video about Lausanne, and one of the things that I was very surprised and positively surprised in Lausanne, I went to this one of the chest villages called Tajlanal,
isn't it? We've been there.
Yeah, there we go. Just like sick. I'm just sick. Okay, so and this village, like 10-20 years ago, it was an absolute ruin. And now it's almost completely renovated and full of life and full of tourism, and it's looking so pretty. And is one of these things that is only happening because of tourism, because I very much doubt any Portuguese person would live there otherwise. So there is definitely a lot of positive impact happening around the foreigners coming to Portugal. And thank you everyone for coming here and helping incentivize and grow our economy. And like I said, I may be a bit biased because in the end, my job is about helping people doing that. And I also created 6 other jobs because of that. So
well done. That's a lovely message there. Thank you so much, Anna, for that. Really appreciate that. And you know what? I think a lot of people moving here want to do more. They want to be more helpful and would like to find ways to do so. Let's keep talking and working together on that. That was the lovely message. So, bon fin semana, bon dia, and excuse me, até a próxima. Sorry for ruining your message with a bad case of Qatar there. I shall edit that out. Have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you soon. We're going to play one more tune, and then we're going to... Music is dead on the Good Morning Portugal show when it comes to YouTube. But long live the music, just like the Dia da República, which will be celebrated here in Portugal on Sunday. The music is alive and well on the Portugal Club, which we'll be testing after I've made a coffee and hanging out over there. Well done, YouTube. Take care, and bye for now. Ciao, ciao.